Why looking poor is important. Picture two Americans at a coffee shop. One pulls up in a leased BMW, wearing a $300 designer shirt and $500 sneakers, but his credit card gets declined buying a $6 latte. The other drives a paid-off 2015 Honda, wears a $20 t-shirt from Target, but quietly owns 3 rental properties and a $400,000 investment portfolio. Which one do you think is actually wealthy? Here's the painful question that's destroying your financial future. Are you working harder to look rich or to become rich? Because there's a brutal difference that most people never discover until it's too late. What if I told you that every designer purchase, every luxury car payment, and every status symbol you buy is actually a wealth-destroying weapon pointed directly at your financial freedom? Today, I'm revealing why the world's truly wealthy people deliberately look ordinary, poor, and unremarkable, and how this ancient deception strategy can transform your bank account forever. By the end of this video, you'll understand why your expensive clothes are keeping you broke, why invisible wealth beats flashy poverty, and most importantly, the exact psychological shift that separates people who build generational wealth from those who stay trapped in appearance prison. If you're ready to learn why looking poor might be the smartest financial decision you ever make, hit that subscribe button and notification bell right now. Thank you very much. But here's what's going to shock you most. This isn't about living cheap. It's about living free. 1. Why appearance becomes your financial prison. Here's the financial death trap that destroys more wealth than market crashes, job losses, and bad investments combined. Believing that looking successful is more important than being successful. You think that designer clothes, luxury cars, and expensive watches prove your worth to the world, but you're actually broadcasting your financial weakness to everyone who knows how money really works. This deadly mistake has been destroying lives for thousands of years, and nature teaches us exactly why. Let me tell you about 2 birds in the ancient forests who faced the same survival challenge but chose completely opposite strategies. The first bird, magnificent peacock Aurelius, was blessed with the most spectacular plumage in the entire forest. His tail feathers shimmered with brilliant blues, greens, and golds that caught sunlight like precious jewels. Aurelius believed his beautiful appearance was his greatest asset, so he spent most of his energy maintaining and displaying these stunning feathers. Every morning, Aurelius would preen meticulously, ensuring every feather was perfectly positioned. He'd strut through the forest clearings, fanning his magnificent tail in elaborate displays, calling attention to his spectacular appearance. Other birds would stop and stare in amazement at his beauty. Aurelius felt proud and important. Surely his stunning appearance proved he was the most successful bird in the forest. But Aurelius had a fatal problem. His beautiful feathers made him an easy target for every predator in the forest. Hawks could spot his brilliant colors from miles away. His elaborate tail made it impossible to fly quickly or hide effectively. Worse, he spent so much time and energy maintaining his appearance that he became a terrible hunter. While other birds were developing survival skills, Aurelius was focused on looking magnificent. The second bird, strategic eagle Marcus, possessed plain brown feathers that looked completely ordinary. Marcus could have been jealous of Aurelius's spectacular appearance, but he understood something profound about survival. Function matters more than form, and invisibility is often more valuable than visibility. Marcus used his unremarkable appearance as a weapon. His brown feathers allowed him to blend perfectly with tree bark and shadows, making him invisible to both prey and predators. While Aurelius was preening and displaying, Marcus was silently studying hunting patterns, building superior flying skills, and constructing a secure nest in a hidden cliff location that no flashy bird could access. When winter arrived and food became scarce, the contrast was devastating. Aurelius's brilliant feathers made him visible to every hawk and fox in the forest. His energy-depleting display habits had left him weak and unprepared for survival challenges. Predators found him easily, and his inability to hunt effectively meant he struggled to find food. Marcus, meanwhile, thrived during the harsh season. His plain appearance allowed him to hunt undetected. His energy had been invested in actual survival skills rather than appearance maintenance. And his hidden nest provided security that no amount of beautiful feathers could match. This exact dynamic destroys modern Americans every single day. You're Aurelius when you finance a BMW to look successful while living paycheck to paycheck. You're displaying beautiful feathers when you wear designer clothes, but can't afford a $1,000 emergency. You're making yourself a target when you flash wealth you don't actually possess. Remember Marcus's wisdom. True predators hunt silently with plain brown feathers, while beautiful peacocks become someone else's dinner. Your wealth should work like eagle feathers. Functional, invisible, and devastatingly effective. 2. Why looking rich costs you real wealth. Here's the wealth-destroying mistake that turns high earners into broke people with expensive tastes. Spending your money on symbols of success instead of sources of success. You think that luxury car payments, designer wardrobes, and premium gadgets prove you're winning financially, but you're actually carrying so much success weight that you can't move fast enough to build real wealth. This burden has been crushing ambitious people for millennia, and ancient trade routes teach us exactly why. Let me tell you about two merchants in ancient Persia who traveled the same dangerous trade routes between Baghdad and Constantinople, but chose completely different approaches to displaying their prosperity. The first merchant, wealthy display Hakim, believed that looking prosperous was essential for business success. He invested heavily in his appearance. Golden jewelry around his neck, silk robes embroidered with silver thread, and a magnificent Arabian stallion with ornate saddle decorations. His caravan was laden with expensive tents, fine carpets, and servants to maintain his luxurious lifestyle. Hakim felt proud when other travelers admired his obvious wealth. Surely, he thought, customers will respect and trust a merchant who displays such success. His elaborate entourage announced his prosperity to everyone within miles, and he enjoyed the attention and respect his appearance commanded. But Hakim's display strategy created devastating problems. His heavy, slow-moving caravan became an irresistible target for bandits who could spot his wealth from great distances. His expensive lifestyle consumed most of his profits. The servants needed wages, the stallion required premium feed, and maintaining his silk wardrobe in desert conditions was costly and time-consuming. Worse, Hakim had to spend increasingly more money to maintain his wealthy appearance. Each season, he needed newer, more expensive displays to keep up his image. His profits were trapped in a cycle of status maintenance, leaving little capital for expanding his trading routes or investing in larger inventories. The second merchant, strategic traveler Yusuf, chose a radically different approach. He wore simple, durable clothes that looked unremarkable but served their purpose perfectly. He rode a modest but reliable horse and carried his wealth in hidden compartments that appeared to contain ordinary trade goods. To casual observers, Yusuf looked like any common trader making a modest living. But Yusuf's humble appearance was a powerful weapon. Bandits ignored his unremarkable caravan, assuming he carried nothing valuable. His low-maintenance lifestyle meant virtually all his profits could be reinvested into expanding his business operations. Instead of spending money on appearance, Yusuf used his capital to establish trading partnerships in new cities, purchase higher quality goods at better prices, and build a network of reliable suppliers. 5 years later, the contrast was shocking. Hakim was still trapped in the same limited trade routes, working harder each year just to maintain his expensive lifestyle. His need to display wealth had prevented him from accumulating actual wealth. Meanwhile, Yusuf had quietly built a trading empire spanning dozens of cities. His hidden wealth had multiplied exponentially because he'd invested in substance rather than symbols. This exact trap destroys modern Americans daily. Every dollar you spend on car payments, designer clothes, or status displays is a dollar not working to build your actual wealth. The monthly payment that makes you look successful is the investment account that could make you actually rich. Remember Yusuf's wisdom: travel light financially so you can move fast toward real prosperity. Heavy burdens slow you down while light loads speed you up. 3. Why hiding wealth creates ultimate power. Here's the counterintuitive truth that separates wealth builders from wealth destroyers. The moment you make your success visible, you make yourself vulnerable to every predator, opportunist, and scheme artist within miles. You think flashing your wealth gains you respect and opportunities, but you're actually painting a target on your back while limiting your access to the most valuable information and deals. This principle of strategic invisibility has been protecting the truly powerful for thousands of years. Let me tell you about two elite warriors in feudal Japan who were sent on identical missions to infiltrate enemy territory and gather crucial intelligence. The first warrior, noble samurai Takeshi, was a master swordsman proud of his warrior heritage and social status. When preparing for his mission, Takeshi wore his family's magnificent armor, lacquered plates that gleamed like mirrors, silk banners displaying his clan symbols, and ceremonial swords that announced his nobility to everyone who saw him. His honor code demanded that he present himself as the distinguished warrior he truly was. Takeshi approached the enemy village with dignity and pride, his colorful armor visible from great distances. Villagers immediately recognized him as a wealthy, high-ranking samurai and treated him with formal respect. He felt satisfied that his appearance commanded the recognition his status deserved. But Takeshi's visibility created catastrophic problems. Enemy guards spotted his distinctive armor before he reached the village gates. Suspicious locals reported his presence to authorities immediately. Merchants quoted him inflated prices, assuming his wealth meant he could afford anything. Worse, people filtered their conversations around him, speaking carefully and revealing nothing valuable because they knew he was someone important who might use information against them. The second warrior, strategic ninja Katsuki, possessed identical fighting skills but approached the mission through the art of invisibility. Katsuki dressed as a simple rice farmer, worn peasant clothes, calloused hands, and a humble demeanor that made him completely forgettable. He entered the same village looking like any poor traveler seeking work or shelter. The contrast was immediate and powerful. Guards ignored Katsuki completely, assuming he posed no threat. Villagers spoke freely around him because they saw just another struggling peasant who couldn't possibly be important. Merchants offered him fair prices and honest information because they weren't trying to exploit obvious wealth. Most importantly, people revealed valuable intelligence in his presence because they didn't consider him worth hiding information from. Katsuki moved through the enemy territory like a ghost, gathering crucial intelligence, identifying key targets, and completing his mission flawlessly. His invisibility had become his greatest weapon, more powerful than the finest armor or sharpest sword. This exact dynamic governs modern wealth building. When you flash expensive watches, luxury cars, or designer clothes, you're wearing Takeshi's armor in enemy territory. Everyone immediately knows you have money, which means salespeople quote you higher prices. Opportunists target you for schemes. Friends expect you to pick up restaurant tabs. Relatives assume you can fund their emergencies. Criminals see you as a potential victim. Investment scammers know you have capital to steal. But when you look ordinary and unremarkable, you gain Katsuki's invisibility powers. You hear honest conversations about business opportunities. You get quoted fair prices. You avoid being targeted by predators. You can study and negotiate from a position of strength. Remember Katsuki's wisdom. True power moves in shadows while false power announces itself loudly. Your wealth should be your most closely guarded secret. 4. Why looking poor creates unexpected advantages. Here's the hidden cost of looking wealthy that no one warns you about. The moment people think you have money, they expect you to spend it on them. Every dinner becomes your treat. Every group activity becomes your funding opportunity. Every friend's crisis becomes your financial responsibility. You're trapped in a prison of other people's expectations, constantly proving your wealth through spending instead of building it through saving. But nature's most successful predators understood a principle that can set you free. Let me tell you about two apex predators who ruled the same African territory but used completely opposite hunting strategies. The first predator, roaring King Leo, was a magnificent lion who believed his power should be visible and audible to everyone in his domain. Leo would announce his presence with thunderous roars that echoed across the savanna for miles. His golden mane caught sunlight like a crown. His massive frame commanded respect from every animal, and his daily territorial displays made sure everyone knew he was the king. Leo felt proud when smaller animals fled at the sound of his approach. He enjoyed the fear and respect his presence commanded. When other lions heard his roars, they knew to stay away from his territory. Leo's dominance was unquestionable and visible to all, but Leo's loud announcement strategy created devastating hunting problems. His roars warned every prey animal of his location from miles away. By the time Leo reached potential hunting grounds, zebras, antelopes, and gazelles had already fled to safer areas. His energy was constantly depleted by territorial displays and intimidation tactics, leaving him exhausted when actual hunting opportunities arose. Worse, Leo's obvious dominance attracted challenges from younger male lions who wanted to prove themselves by defeating the famous king. He spent more time fighting off competitors than actually hunting. His pride expected him to provide food for everyone, but his loud hunting style made success increasingly difficult. The second predator, silent wolf Fenris, ruled a territory just as large but operated through complete stealth. Fenris moved like a ghost through his domain, his gray coat blending perfectly with shadows and underbrush. He never announced his presence, never displayed his power, and remained invisible until the moment he struck. Other animals had no idea when Fenris was near. He could study prey patterns for hours without being detected, learn their routines, identify the weakest targets, and position himself perfectly for guaranteed success. His silence was his greatest weapon, more deadly than Leo's roars, more powerful than any display of dominance. Most importantly, Fenris's invisibility protected him from social expectations. Other wolves didn't know his hunting success rate, so they couldn't demand shares of his kills. Competing predators didn't challenge him because they underestimated his capabilities. His pack respected him not for shows of dominance, but for consistent results delivered quietly. This exact dynamic governs your financial life. When you look wealthy, everyone expects you to fund their lifestyle. Friends assume you'll pay for dinner. Family members expect you to loan money for their emergencies. Social groups pressure you to upgrade experiences to match your apparent success level. But when you look ordinary, you gain wolf-like advantages. No pressure to pick up tabs. No expectations to fund others' lifestyles. No obligations to prove your success through spending. Freedom to save and invest while others waste money on appearances. Remember Fenris's wisdom. The deadliest hunters make no sound until their prey is caught. Your wealth should hunt opportunities the same way. 5. Why every dollar must choose its destiny. Here's the life-changing question that separates wealth builders from wealth spenders. What if every dollar in your wallet could speak and tell you its dreams? $1 dreams of becoming a designer shirt that impresses strangers for a few months. Another dream of becoming an investment that feeds your family for decades. Most people never realize they're forcing their money to choose between temporary ego gratification and permanent financial freedom. This choice has determined the fate of families for thousands of years. Let me tell you about a wise farmer in ancient Mesopotamia who discovered the most important lesson about abundance and scarcity. Old farmer Habib had worked his land for 30 years and finally saved enough money to purchase 2 precious seeds from a traveling merchant. These weren't ordinary seeds. They were rare pomegranate seeds that, according to the merchant, would grow into trees that could feed a family for generations. The seeds were expensive, representing months of Habib's labor and sacrifice. When Habib returned home with his 2 seeds, he faced a crucial decision that would determine his family's future. His stomach was empty from the long journey, his children were asking for food, and the seeds looked plump and nourishing. He held the first seed in his weathered palm and thought, "I'm hungry now. My family needs food today. This seed could satisfy our immediate hunger and give us strength for tomorrow's work." The temptation was overwhelming. Habib could almost taste the sweet flesh of the seed. Imagine the immediate relief it would bring to his empty stomach. His neighbors would understand. When you're hungry, you eat what you have. It seemed like a reasonable, practical decision to consume the seed and solve his immediate problem. But Habib also understood something deeper about the nature of abundance. He looked at the second seed and envisioned a different future. This seed could become a tree that feeds my children, my grandchildren, and their children. One moment of hunger versus generations of abundance. After much contemplation, Habib made his choice. He ate the first seed, satisfying his immediate hunger and giving himself energy for the planting work ahead. But he took the second seed to the richest soil on his land, planted it carefully, and tended it with the devotion of a man who understood he was planting his family's future. The contrast became clear over the years. The first seed provided one moment of satisfaction and then was gone forever, digested, forgotten, leaving no trace of its potential. The second seed grew slowly at first, requiring patience, water, and protection from animals. For 3 years, it gave nothing back while demanding constant care. But in the 4th year, the pomegranate tree began bearing fruit. In the 5th year, it produced enough to feed Habib's entire family. By the 10th year, the tree generated surplus fruit that Habib could sell at market. 20 years later, that single seed had become a living inheritance, providing sustenance and income that would outlast Habib's lifetime. This exact choice confronts you every time you open your wallet. Every dollar you spend on status symbols, expensive dinners, or lifestyle inflation is a seed you're consuming for momentary satisfaction. Every dollar you invest, save, or use to build assets is a seed you're planting for generational abundance. The painful truth is that you can't do both. The dollar that becomes a designer handbag can't also become an investment account. The money that funds your luxury vacation can't simultaneously fund your retirement. Remember Habib's wisdom. Hungry people eat their seeds, while wise people plant them. Your financial freedom depends on which choice you make with each dollar today. Look, here's the bottom line. Ancient wisdom has been teaching this lesson for 5,000 years. Eagles hunt with plain brown feathers, while peacocks become prey with beautiful displays. Light merchants build trading empires, while heavy merchants get robbed. Invisible ninjas complete impossible missions, while armored samurai become targets. Silent wolves never go hungry, while roaring lions exhaust themselves. Wise farmers plant seeds, while hungry farmers eat them. Every single ancient allegory reveals the same truth. True power operates in shadows, real wealth travels light, and lasting success stays invisible until it's too late to stop. You now know the choice every dollar forces you to make. Feed your ego today, or feed your freedom forever. Display your success to impress strangers who don't pay your bills, or build your wealth to impress your future self, who will thank you for decades. Which ancient strategy resonates most with your financial journey? Drop it in the comments. Eagle if you're choosing function over form, merchant if you're traveling light financially, ninja if you're embracing invisibility, wolf if you're hunting opportunities silently, or farmer if you're planting instead of consuming. If this video changed how you see the relationship between appearance and wealth, Smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you never miss strategies that the truly wealthy use, but never discuss publicly. Share this with someone who needs to understand why their designer clothes are keeping them broke, while their plain-dressed neighbor is quietly building an empire. Remember your ancestors' wisdom. The most dangerous predators make no sound, cast no shadow, and leave no trace until their prey is already caught. Your wealth should hunt the same way.